Live from the chicken wing capital of the world, Buffalo, New York. You're listening to the Childcare Bridge podcast, your source for the best tips, tools, and tactics on how to market and grow your childcare center, ensuring total domination. Total domination. This is the Childcare Bridge, and this is your host, Michael Tasner.
Hey there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Childcare Bridge. Today's topic is extremely simple, but it's a topic that I promise you isn't going to land the first time you hear this. It's going to take you a few weeks, a few months, even potentially a few years to grasp. So here it is. You are not in the childcare business. You are in the marketing business. You need to stop thinking of yourself as a child care provider, a daycare provider, a Montessori academy, a summer camp, an after-school program, a trilingual school. You need to start thinking of yourself as a marketing engine. When you really think about it, every business is almost identical. Like, people think that their businesses are all kind of drastically different. They feel that, well, it's not going to work here, but it maybe can work in that industry. But if you really boil it down and you really start to think about it, every business does two things. They leverage marketing to get people's attention, and they aim to convert, close, sell people into something. Now, in this case, that something for you tends to be childcare or after-school care or summer camp, whatever programs you currently have to offer. But what ends up happening, especially with childcare center owners, is they get so in the weeds on wanting to have next-level curriculum, wanting to have the best camera systems, wanting to have the most robust parent communication, the most beautiful and amazing playgrounds. They get so in the weeds on those topics, and those are what I would deem more fun. There are certain things in my business, my industry, that are a lot more fun to do. To me, it's a lot more fun to go and speak at conferences, travel to new places, get paid a boatload of money to speak, and then fly home. That's the fun stuff. However, if you look at that as a simple example, how does that end up happening? It happens via marketing. Where are all of these magical families coming from to attend your centers? Even if they have vouchers, rarely are you the only game in town that they can go to. So how are you differentiating? How are you standing out? How are you actually deploying marketing? If you start to think of yourself as a marketing business, you're going to very rapidly realize a couple of things. Number one, you probably have no idea what you're doing from a marketing standpoint. I have never worked with a child care center business, regardless of size, that understands all of the nuances when it comes to marketing. Now, that's not me aiming to sound like I'm the almighty, but I can tell you that I know a thing or two about marketing, being in this industry for 25 years, having written 10 plus books on marketing, having worked with thousands of businesses of shapes and sizes, from a startup to Fortune 500, to running the biggest marketing brand in the world, Guerrilla Marketing, as the chief marketing officer. Literally, I was hired to run the marketing for Guerrilla Marketing. So I can promise you I know a thing or two about marketing. So when I tell you that you are most likely not equipped to at the very least, to do your marketing in-house, the only times that we tend to lose, we call them members versus clients or customers, is when they have mucked up another area of their center. So financially, they start getting into a hole, or they start operating from a fear mindset, and they go down the wrong rabbit hole. Well, I had one center that we were working with that we started driving results 2 months in. And now we think we can get better results, and when we paused, all of a sudden we had more tours. Well, the interesting thing is, we started at the worst time, which is historically June, July, and then they started magically getting all these tours in August for fall enrollment, which is, August historically is the number one enrollment month during the year. But it's interesting when I look at it and say, well, where did you think you could kind of go down that path? And it takes me in a lot of different twists and turns. And I'm sharing this because until you are able to start to see yourself as a marketing business, you're going to constantly hit a ceiling. If you tell me, Michael, I want to go from 1 center to 20 over the next 5 years, there is absolutely no way that you are going to be able to do that unless you become a marketing machine. You need to be able to have a replicatable formula, what we call a fortune map, literally a paint by numbers, step by step by step by step of exactly what you need to do. Exactly. You need to be able to replicate that time and time again so that you can open a new location, have it already at a level that's not going to deplete all of your cash reserves, which sadly is what happens almost every single time, which I'll come back to in just a minute. But you need to have that machine. You need to be thinking of yourself, your brand, your team, your directors, your frontline people that are communicating with these potential families. You are a marketing machine, not a childcare business. That means that your follow-up game needs to be immediately. You need to have amazing branding. You need to have sales scripts. You need to have a $1 million tour. You need to be focusing the lion's share of your time and energy in marketing. And when I look at your calendar and I say, well, show me what you did last week. Your calendar to me shows me what your priority is, what your priorities are. And if I look at your calendar and it says, well, work on curriculum here, and you have 7 different vendors you're meeting with about new playground equipment, and you have a couple of other meetings scattered, and you had to fill in this classroom here, and I get it. Like, this is not a business where you can just sit in an ivory tower until you get to a certain point. But what I rarely see on your calendar are things like working with my marketing agency, rewriting scripts, demoing different tours, shopping the competition, analyzing the metrics, all of the marketing related stuff. And marketing isn't simply posting on social media, but that definitely is a portion. How often is your center posting on Facebook? Authentic pictures and images on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly? How often do you have referral contests going throughout the course of the year? How often are you updating and changing your creative? How many discounts and offers are you split testing? And this is not your testing waiving the registration fee of $50 or $100. Testing new, different, unique things. When you pause and really start to think about it, all of these families are going to come to you in some way via marketing. Word of mouth is considered marketing. Let's say, well, Michael, that just kind of happens organically. I beg to differ. If you want to control word of mouth, you need to encourage word of mouth. You need to have some additional incentives. Yes, there are going to be people that are so happy with everything that you have to offer that they're going to stand on the rooftops, scream from the mountains, and say how amazing your centers are. Those people are in the minority. At the end of the day, people are inherently selfish. They care about themselves and their families. They're not concerned about spending every waking moment promoting your center. However, you can encourage word of mouth. You can give certain scripts. You can have referral contests and give away prizes that I've discussed on this show. Not $50 off their tuition or $100 off their tuition, but a spa weekend, a spa getaway. You need to pause and look at your calendar the next couple of months, even the next couple of days. What are all of those marketing activities that you know you can be doing, that you should be doing? Redoing your website, fixing all of your social media. Now, as I said earlier, though, that I have never seen, and I've worked with hundreds, if not thousands of centers, an organization that can do their marketing in-house. Even if you have a, let's say, 10 location center, you have a marketing person in-house, there is never a marketing person that A, can handle everything, but B is knowledgeable in every area. Marketing, think of it as a doctor. You get trained as a surgeon, but then there's specialties, brain surgery, spine, hands, there's all these different areas. Marketing is the same thing. There are content specialists. There are people that know something called direct response copywriting, which is having words that move people, move families to take action. Not all words are created equal. There's this concept around search engine optimization, or SEO. There's buying ads on Facebook and Google, and there's people that literally spend 10, 15, 20 years in one of these areas. You're not going to be able to add one marketing person to your team and say, figure it all out. You need to have a marketing agency like ours that is working with this stuff day in and day out for you and with you. And that is the key here. This is not a you just set it and forget it and don't ever want to have a conversation. Our most successful members are the ones that are engaged, that are giving rapid feedback on the tours. Hey, this is what the people are saying on the tours. Can we add some of this in some of our ads? Can we warm people up a little bit more with the video on this particular topic? But it all comes full circle back to you understanding that you are in the marketing and sales game. Everything starts with marketing. It starts with getting someone's attention, whether that's via a billboard, a radio ad, your website, a Google listing, your map listing, going to a local event, having an open house. How do you get people to your open house? Through marketing. You can have the best open house, the best food, the best entertainment, all of those things can be the best, but if no one knows about it, it's the same thing when I had mentioned earlier in this episode of people that open up new locations and then all of a sudden they're losing $50,000 a month. 3 months later, they're out of cash. It also killed the other centers that they had. You put all of your eggs in having the best event, the best grand opening, the most beautiful looking centers. You want to have those things, but you cannot put all of your eggs in that basket. How are you going to fill that center? I want to see your marketing plan, your marketing budgets. I want to see how you're tracking. I want to know what your cost per lead, your cost per tour, your cost per enrollment. I want to see that being nimble to where you're able to make tweaks and updates so that we're getting as close to that break-even point even before opening, so you're not behind the 8 ball. Your attention needs to be in the marketing side, not working with building inspectors and licensing and all these other things. Yes, you need that stuff, but if you take your eye off the marketing game, you are sunk. When a center says, why do centers go out of business? It's because they do not know what they're doing from a marketing standpoint. More enrollments, more profitable enrollments can solve a lot of things. It drives the cash that you need to then fix other issues. You can hire a who, not a how. Amazing book that I believe I've mentioned at least once or twice. Book by Dan Sullivan, Who Not How. You've got staffing issues, great. Who can help you solve that? If you can't solve it, who's the who? But you need the cash. You need the money. How do you get the money? Through marketing. Take a look at your calendar the next couple of weeks. And this, you're going to have to marinate on this. Like, this is one of those concepts that will take time. It'll need to be in your subconscious that when it clicks, you're like, yeah, Michael, I get it. It's marketing math. It's understanding my marketing numbers of how much it costs me to get an enrollment. And I need to make sure that we have those numbers, and that fuels everything else. And then when I have the profitable numbers, I can pay the rest of my team more and hire better staff and more staff. And then I can expand and get investors. It's all marketing. You are in the marketing business. Let that sink in. And when it does, you will be absolutely unstoppable. Michael Tasner signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.